Today, we're going to talk about something that's, well, it's a really personal and often difficult journey. It's about what happens after you leave the Jehovah's Witnesses. How do you start to reconstruct your faith? It's a path that usually starts with a lot of pain, but, and this is the important part, it can absolutely lead to real, profound hope.
Okay, let's just dive right in with this, because this idea is so important. If this is a choice you've made, it is absolutely crucial to see it for what it is, an act of courage. It's not a failure. It's a move toward your own integrity, toward healing. And honestly, just shifting your perspective to see it that way, that's the foundation for everything that comes next.
So first, let's talk about the why. This isn't a decision anyone just makes on a whim. It comes from really deep convictions, from personal experiences, and just taking a moment to understand those reasons is the first real step in validating this whole entire journey.
And when you look at a list like this, you start to see the common threads, right? You see themes of control, not just over what you believe, but over how you even think. You see the devastating impact of teachings that are rooted in fear, and of course, practices like shunning. But ultimately, for so many people, it just boils down to a deep, fundamental need for their own spiritual integrity.
Now, acknowledging the reasons for leaving is one thing, but we have to be really honest about what comes next. Because that transition, it is rarely simple. It's almost never painless. It comes with a very, very real and often very heavy emotional cost.
Let's just pause on these three words for a second. Loss. I mean, the loss of your community, maybe your family, sometimes the only reality you have ever known. Then there's the confusion. Who are you now? What do you believe? What does your future even look like? And of course, deep emotional pain. Just acknowledging that this is real is a vital part of starting to heal.
But it's often right there, from that place of pain, that a new perspective can finally start to emerge. And this is the real turning point of the journey. It's about looking beyond the walls of one organization to discover something so much more expansive and, frankly, freeing.
And this is the big one, isn't it? This is the question that haunts so many people during this transition. If you've walked away from the only spiritual home you've ever had, it's so natural to wonder, did I leave God behind too? It's a question that cuts right to the heart of everything. And the answer that's offered here is just, it's so liberating. The core idea is that God and His grace can't be contained by institutional walls. It's bigger than that. Your connection to the divine isn't dependent on a membership card to any single group, and that is a powerful, freeing truth.
And this gets right to the heart of the matter. The whole invitation of faith is meant to be one that leads to freedom and love, not to control and fear. It's about shifting from a relationship that's built on obligation and the threat of punishment to one that's actually built on grace and a genuine connection.
Okay, so if grace exists outside the organization, what does rebuilding actually look like in real life? It's not about just floating around in uncertainty. There is a practical path forward. There's a way to mindfully and safely start putting the pieces back together.
So think of this as a kind of roadmap. Step 1 is huge. Find a safe, supportive community. Step 2, find help that actually understands the unique kind of pain that comes from religious trauma. 3, start to approach Scripture again, but this time, try to see it through a lens of love, not fear. And finally, this might be the most important one, take your time. This is not a race. You have to give yourself grace.
So where do you even find these safe spaces? Well, some suggestions include looking for churches that are really centered on grace, not rules. Finding counselors who are specifically trauma-informed. You could even explore spiritual direction, or some of the historic Christian traditions which often have a long, rich history of encouraging questions and intellectual engagement. These are places designed for renewal, not for rigidity.
And here's something really powerful. The outcome of this journey, what it can produce in a person, is pretty amazing. The experience of navigating spiritual harm can uniquely equip you to become a source of healing and deep empathy for other people. It's a truly profound transformation.
I mean, just look at this transformation. It's a journey from one place to a completely different one. You move from fear-based control to freedom and grace. You go from having your thoughts restricted to having the liberty to ask thoughtful questions. And you shift from this rigid black and white doctrine to a deep, empathetic understanding because you've seen both sides.
And ultimately, it really all comes down to this foundation, that grace is a gift, that the invitation is open and free to everyone, and that every single person has inherent worth and value, made in God's image. This is the core message of hope you can hold on to.
So we want to leave you with a question to carry forward, because this journey isn't about finding a new system to just replace the old one. It's about discovering your own authentic path. So what does a faith that's truly rooted in freedom and in grace and in love, what does that look like for you? The answer? Well, the answer is yours to build.